Yo, what's good, fam? Picture this, a decorated black general, dressed sharp in his military uniform, medals gleaming under the midday sun, stepping out of his car to grab a coffee. He's served his country for decades, led troops in war zones, and advised the Pentagon's top brass. But in a split second, everything changes. Sirens blare, tires screech, and two cops roll up, eyes narrowed, hands twitching near their holsters. They don't see a hero. They don't see a leader. They see a black man, and to them, that's enough. Before he can even process what's happening, his face down on the pavement, wrists cuffed, their knees pressing into his back. The general stays calm, his voice steady, but inside, he's burning. This isn't just an insult, it's a betrayal. And then, he makes a call. One single call to the Pentagon that flips the script and sends those cops' careers spiraling into oblivion. But that's not all. In a completely different moment, a black teen on a crowded bus spots a pregnant white woman struggling to stand. He doesn't hesitate, he gives up his seat, no big deal, just doing what's right. She smiles, grateful, and slips him a note as she gets off. He stuffs it in his pocket, not thinking much of it. But when he reads it later, that note changes his life forever. 2 stories, 2 moments, 1 powerful truth. Sometimes, the smallest actions or the ugliest injustices can spark a chain reaction that no one sees coming. Stick with me, because you're not gonna believe how this all unfolds. Let's rewind to that scorching afternoon in a small southern town. General Marcus Tate, a name that commands respect in military circles, is driving through on his way to a speaking event. He's 52, built like a linebacker, with a deep voice that can silence a room. His uniform is crisp, his posture perfect, every inch of him screaming discipline and honor. He pulls into a gas station to refuel and grab a bottle of water. Nothing out of the ordinary, right? Except, as he's walking back to his car, he notices a police cruiser creeping by, real slow. The officers inside, 2 white guys, maybe in their 30s, are staring him down. Marcus feels that familiar prickle on the back of his neck, the one every black man knows too well. He's been here before, not as a general, but as a kid in the 80s, when cops would hassle him just for walking home from school. He shakes it off, tells himself it's nothing. He's a 3-star general, for God's sake. What could they possibly want with him? But as he opens his car door, the cruiser pulls up, blocking him in. The officers step out, hands on their belts, faces hard. "Sir, we need you to step away from the vehicle," one of them says, his tone clipped. Marcus raises an eyebrow, calm but confused. "Officers, is there a problem?" he asks, keeping his hands visible. The second cop, younger, with a buzz cut and a smirk, steps closer. "We got a report of a stolen vehicle matching this description. You're gonna need to come with us." Marcus blinks. Stolen vehicle? His car. The one he's owned for years, registered in his name, with military plates. He tries to explain, his voice even, professional. "I'm General Marcus Tate, U.S. Army. This is my vehicle. I can show you my ID and registration." But the cops aren't listening. Buzz cut snaps, "Hands behind your back," now, and before Marcus can say another word, they're on him. The takedown is quick, brutal. Marcus hits the ground hard, his cheek pressed against the hot asphalt. One cop's knee digs into his spine as the other slaps cuffs on his wrists. A small crowd starts to gather, gas station clerk, a couple of truckers, some teens with their phones out, recording. Marcus hears the whispers, the gasps, but he stays focused. He's not fighting back, not giving them any excuse. He knows the drill: comply, survive, deal with the fallout later. But inside, he's seething. This isn't just about a stolen car mix-up. He sees it in their eyes, hears it in their tone, the assumption, the prejudice. They didn't even check his plates before they rolled up. They saw a black man in a nice car and decided he didn't belong. As the cops yank him to his feet, Marcus makes a decision. He's not going to let this slide. Not today. Not after everything he's fought for. He looks Buzz cut dead in the eye and says, "You're making a mistake. A big one." The cop laughs, thinking he's got the upper hand. But Marcus isn't talking about the cuffs or the crowd or the humiliation. He's talking about what's coming next. See, Marcus isn't just any general. He's got friends in high places, very high places. And with one phone call, he's about to remind these officers exactly who they're dealing with. But what does he say? Who does he call? And how do those cops react when they realize they've just crossed the wrong man? Hold that thought, because we're gonna switch gears for a second. Now, let's talk about Jamal Carter, an 18-year-old kid from Chicago's South Side. Jamal's not a general, not a hero in the traditional sense, but he's got a heart bigger than most. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and he's on the bus, heading home from his part-time job at a corner store. The bus is packed, standing room only, and the air's thick with the smell of sweat and cheap perfume. Jamal's got his earbuds in, vibing to some Kendrick, when he notices a woman near the front. She's white, maybe in her 30s, visibly pregnant, and struggling to keep her balance as the bus lurches through traffic. Nobody's offering her a seat. People are either staring at their phones or pretending not to notice. Jamal doesn't think twice. He stands up, taps her shoulder, and says, take my seat. The woman looks surprised, almost embarrassed, but she smiles and sits down, rubbing her belly. Thank you, young man, she says, her voice soft but sincere. Jamal just nods, grabs the overhead bar, and goes back to his music. It's no big deal to him, just common decency. As the bus pulls up to her stop, the woman stands, reaches into her purse, and hands Jamal a folded piece of paper. This is for you, she says, her eyes locking with his for a moment before she hurries off. Jamal's confused but doesn't think much of it. He shoves the note in his pocket and forgets about it until his home later that night, emptying his jeans before tossing them in the wash. When he unfolds the note, his jaw drops. It's not just a thank you scribble. It's something else entirely, something that could change his life in ways he never imagined. But what does it say? What could a stranger possibly write that flips an 18-year-old's world upside down? And how does it connect to General Tate's story, thousands of miles away? Because here's the thing, these two moments, as different as they seem, are tied together by something deeper. It's about respect, or the lack of it. It's about what happens when people judge you by your skin instead of your actions. And it's about the power of standing up, whether that's through a single act of kindness or a call that shakes the system to its core. Back to General Tate. He's in the back of the squad car now, cuffs biting into his wrists. The cops are up front, joking like they didn't just humiliate a man who's served their country longer than they've been alive. Marcus stays quiet, but his mind is racing. He's thinking about his daughter, a college freshman who idolizes him. He's thinking about the soldiers he's led, the battles he's fought, the promises he's kept. And he's thinking about the system that still, after all these years, lets something like this happen. The car pulls into the station, and the cops haul him inside, booking him like he's some common criminal. They're smug, thinking they've won. But Marcus knows something they don't. He's got a phone call coming, and when it does, it's gonna hit like a missile. The desk sergeant, an older guy with a beer gut and a bored expression, slides a phone across the counter. One call, he grunts. Marcus picks it up, dials a number he knows by heart, and waits. On the other end, a voice answers, one that carries weight, one that can move mountains. Marcus speaks calmly, laying out what's happened, not raising his voice, not losing his cool. The cops are watching, smirking, thinking it's just some desperate bluff. But then the sergeant's phone rings. He picks it up, listens for a moment, and his face goes pale. He looks at Marcus, then at the two officers, and mutters something under his breath. The air in the room shifts. The smirks are gone. Buzzcut's hands start to shake. What did Marcus say? Who did he call? And what's about to happen to those cops who thought they could get away with this? Meanwhile, Jamal's sitting on his bed, staring at that note. His hands are trembling too, but for a different reason. He reads it again, just to make sure he's not dreaming. It's not money, not a job offer, not anything he could have guessed. It's something bigger, something that could pull him out of the struggle he's known his whole life. But there's a catch, a choice he's gotta make. And that choice, it's not as simple as it seems. What's in the note? What does Jamal do next? And how does his story collide with General Tate's in a way that'll leave you speechless? We're just getting started, fam. These two stories, one of injustice, one of kindness, are about to weave together in ways you won't see coming. General Tate's call is about to unleash a firestorm, and Jamal's note is about to open doors he never knew existed. But there's more to both stories than meets the eye. There's betrayal, there's redemption, and there's a truth that ties it all together. What happens when the system tries to break you, but you fight back? What happens when a single act of goodness ripples further than you could ever imagine? Hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and stick around, because the next part's gonna blow your mind. Who's ready to see how this all goes down? Alright, fam, let's dive back in. General Marcus Tate's sitting in that cold, fluorescent-lit police station, the cuffs still tight around his wrists. The desk sergeant's face is ashen, his eyes darting between Marcus and the two cops who dragged him in. That phone call Marcus made. It's already sending shockwaves, but we're not there yet. The air's thick with tension, and those officers, Buzz Cut and his partner, are starting to sweat. They thought they had this in the bag, just another routine stop, but now? Now they're realizing they might have stepped in something way bigger than they can handle. Meanwhile, across the country, Jamal Carter's still staring at that note, his heart pounding. It's not just words on paper, it's a door to something he never dreamed possible. But there's a catch, and it's got him shook. These two stories are on a collision course, and the stakes are climbing higher by the second. Let's peel back the layers and see what's really going on. Marcus leans back in the metal chair, his face unreadable. He's been in tougher spots than this, desert firefights, high-stakes briefings where one wrong word could cost lives. But this hits different. It's not just the cuffs or the smug cops or the crowd that watched him get slammed to the ground. It's the weight of it all, the years of climbing the ranks, proving himself over and over, only to end up here, treated like he's nothing. He thinks about his daughter, Aisha, who's probably scrolling through her phone at college right now, oblivious to what's happening. He promised her he'd always be her rock, her proof that hard work and honor could beat anything. But what does this moment say? He pushes the thought down, focuses on the now. The sergeant's still on the phone, his voice low, urgent. Marcus catches fragments. Yes, sir. General Tate, immediately, and he knows the dominoes are starting to fall. Buzz Cut, whose real name is Officer Daniel Reese, is pacing near the door. His partner, Officer Tom Hargrove, older and quieter, looks like he's trying to shrink into the wall. Reese is the hothead, the one who pushed for the takedown, who ignored Marcus's calm explanation about the car. Hargrove went along with it, like he always does, but now he's regretting it. Reese stops pacing, glares at Marcus. Who'd you call, her? Some lawyer buddy, he snaps, trying to sound tough, but his voice cracks just a little. Marcus doesn't even look at him. He's not playing their game. He knows Reese is fishing, trying to figure out how deep this hole they've dug really is. Hargrove tugs at Reese's sleeve, mutters, "Let it go, man," but Reese shakes him off. The sergeant hangs up the phone, his hands trembling, and says, "Uncuff him. Now." Reese freezes, his jaw tight. "What? Sarge, you serious?" The sergeant's eyes narrow. "Do it, Reese, or I swear you'll be directing traffic by morning." The cuffs come off, but Marcus doesn't rub his wrists or stretch. He just sits there, staring straight ahead, his silence louder than any words. Reese and Hargrove exchange a look, and for the first time, you can see it in their faces, fear. They're starting to piece it together. This isn't just some guy they pulled over. This is someone with pull, someone who can make things happen. But who? And how bad is this gonna get for them? The sergeant clears his throat, tries to sound official. "General Tate, I apologize for the misunderstanding. We're sorting this out." Marcus finally looks at him, his gaze steady, cutting. "Misunderstanding," he says, his voice low, like a storm brewing. "You call that a misunderstanding?" The room goes quiet. Nobody's got an answer for that. Let's jump back to Jamal for a minute. He's still in his bedroom, the note crumpled in his hand. His room's small, cluttered with old sneakers, a cracked mirror, and a desk piled with textbooks he's been grinding through for his community college classes. He's got dreams, big ones, but money's tight, and his mom's working double shifts at the hospital just to keep the lights on. Jamal's always been the kid who steps up, whether it's helping his little sister with her homework or picking up extra hours at the corner store. That's why giving up his seat on the bus was second nature. But this note. It's throwing him for a loop. He flattens it out on his bed, reads it again. The handwriting's neat, deliberate, like whoever wrote it meant every word. It's not a thank you note. It's an invitation, a chance to meet someone important, who saw what he did and wants to talk. There's a name, a phone number, and a sentence that hits him like a punch. Your kindness could open doors you didn't know existed. Jamal's mind is racing. Who is this woman? How does she know anything about him? And what kind of doors is she talking about? He's skeptical, because growing up where he did, you learn quick that nothing comes for free. There's always a catch, a hustle, a price. He thinks about calling the number right then and there, but something stops him. What if it's a scam? Or worse, what if it's real, but he's not ready for whatever's on the other side? He stuffs the note in his pocket, grabs his phone, and texts his best friend, Dre. Yo, some lady on the bus gave me a weird note. Says it could change my life. What you think? Dre texts back almost instantly, Brew, you sure she ain't trying to sell you something? Call the number, see what's good. Jamal hesitates. He wants to believe it's legit, but doubt's creeping in, and it's loud. Back in the police station, Marcus is standing now, brushing off his uniform like he can wipe away the whole incident. The sergeant's trying to smooth things over, offering coffee, an apology, anything to keep this from blowing up. But Marcus isn't interested. He's thinking about the bigger picture, about the system that let this happen, about the countless others who don't have a Pentagon contact to call. He thinks about his younger days, growing up in a neighborhood not unlike Jamal's, where cops were more likely to harass you than help you. He worked his way out, earned every stripe on his uniform, but moments like this remind him the world hasn't changed as much as he'd hoped. The sergeant's phone rings again, and this time, he practically jumps to answer it. Marcus catches the name Colonel and knows it's his old friend, Colonel James Warren, a no-nonsense officer who's got the ear of the defense secretary. Whatever James is saying, it's making the sergeant sweat bullets. Reese and Hargrove are huddled in the corner now, whispering like kids who just got caught cheating on a test. Reese is still trying to play it cool, but Hargrove's not buying it. I told you to check the plates first, Hargrove hisses. You had to go all cowboy. Reese snaps back, don't put this on me. You didn't stop me. They're bickering, but it's clear they're both scared. They've heard the sergeant mention Pentagon and investigation, and those aren't words you just shrug off. Marcus watches them, his face still calm, but there's a fire in his eyes. He's not just fighting for himself, he's fighting for every black man who's been profiled, every kid who's been stereotyped, every person who's been judged before they even open their mouth. But what's his next move? Does he push this all the way to the top, or does he let it go, knowing he's already shaken them up? And what's Colonel Warren saying that's got the sergeant looking like he's about to pass out? Let's swing back to Jamal. It's the next morning, and he's still got the note burning a hole in his pocket. He's at the corner store, restocking shelves, but his mind's somewhere else. His boss, Mr. Patel, notices he's distracted and asks what's up. Jamal's not one to spill his business, but Mr. Patel's been good to him, so he pulls out the note and shows it. Mr. Patel reads it, his eyebrows shooting up. This is no joke, Jamal, he says, handing it back. You should call. What's the worst that could happen? Jamal nods, but he's still not sure. He's thinking about his mom, who's always telling him to be careful, to not trust strangers. But he's also thinking about his future, about getting out of the neighborhood, making something of himself, being someone his little sister can look up to. He decides to call, but not yet. He needs to think it through, maybe talk to his mom first. The note's got him hopeful, but hope's a dangerous thing when you're used to disappointment. Back at the station, things are moving fast. The sergeant's off the phone now, and he's barking orders at Reese and Hargrove. Get your reports ready. Internal Affairs is coming down, and they want everything, body cam footage, radio logs, the works. Reese's face goes white. Aye. For what? It was a routine stop. The sergeant glares at him. Routine? You cuffed a 3-star general, you idiot. This ain't going away. Marcus is still standing there, silent, watching it all unfold. He's not gloating, not rubbing it in. That's not his style. But he's not backing down either. He knows this isn't just about him, it's about accountability, about making sure these officers think twice next time. But there's a part of him that's tired, bone-deep tired, of having to fight these battles over and over. He thinks about Aisha again, wonders if she'll see the footage that's probably already spreading online. He wants to protect her from this, but he knows she needs to understand the world she's growing up in. Jamal's shift ends, and he's walking home, the note still in his pocket. He passes a group of kids playing basketball on a cracked court, their laughter cutting through the evening air. He stops for a second, watching them, remembering when he was that carefree. Life's heavier now: bills, college applications, the constant grind. The note feels like a lifeline, but it's also a risk. He pulls out his phone, stares at the number, his thumb hovering over the call button. He's about to press it when his mom calls, asking him to pick up some milk on the way home. He sighs, puts the phone away, and heads to the bodega. Life doesn't stop, even when you're holding something that could change everything. But what's in that note? Who's the woman who gave it to him? And why does it feel like this one decision could make or break his future? Back in the southern town, Marcus is in his hotel room, staring at his phone. He's got a dozen missed calls: Colonel Warren, his wife, even Aisha, who must have heard something by now. He knows he needs to call them back, but he's not ready. He's still processing, still feeling the sting of those cuffs, the heat of the pavement, the weight of those cops' assumptions. He thinks about the crowd at the gas station, the kids with their phones out. By now, the video's probably viral, hashtags trending, people picking sides. He's not just a general anymore, he's a symbol, whether he likes it or not. And that's a responsibility he's not sure he's ready for. But he knows one thing: he's not staying quiet. Not this time. Jamal's at home now, sitting at the kitchen table with his mom, Tanya. She's exhausted, still in her nurse's scrubs, but she listens as he tells her about the note. She reads it, her eyes narrowing. "This sounds too good to be true, baby," she says, handing it back. "You gotta be careful. People don't just hand out opportunities like this." Jamal nods, but he's not so sure. He trusts his mom's instincts. She's been through too much not to know a scam when she sees one, but something about the note feels different. It's not flashy, not promising the world. It's specific, personal, like the woman saw something in him that day on the bus. Tanya sees the look in his eyes, softens a little. "All right," she says. "Sleep on it. If you still wanna call tomorrow, I'll be right here with you." Jamal smiles, grateful for her, but he's still torn. What if this is his shot? What if he misses it? Back in the southern town, Marcus is up too, thousands of miles away, staring out his hotel window at the quiet town below. He's thinking about the cops, about Reese's smirk, Hargrove's silence, the sergeant's panic. He's thinking about the system that let them think they could get away with it. He knows the investigation's coming, but he also knows how these things can stall, how paperwork gets lost, how stories get spun. He's not naive. But he's also not alone. Colonel Warren's already pulling strings, and Marcus knows he's got the truth on his side. He thinks about Jamal, though he doesn't know him yet, a kid out there, somewhere, facing his own battles. Their paths haven't crossed, but the world's got a way of weaving stories together. And when these two collide, it's gonna be something nobody sees coming. The night stretches on, and both Marcus and Jamal are at crossroads. Marcus, with his power and his pain, is deciding how far to take this fight. Jamal, with his dreams and his doubts, is deciding whether to trust a stranger's words. The cops are scrambling, the note's still a mystery, and the tension's only getting thicker. What's Colonel Warren planning? What's in that note that's got Jamal so twisted up? And how are these two stories, one of injustice, one of hope, gonna come together? We're not there yet, fam. The stakes are high, the questions are piling up, and the answers, they're coming, but not without a fight. Stick with me, hit that like button, and let's see where this goes. Alright, fam, let's pick up right where we left off. The night's heavy, and General Marcus Tate's standing at his hotel window, the glow of the small southern town flickering below. His phone's buzzing with missed calls, but he's not ready to answer. The sting of those cuffs, the smirk on Officer Reese's face, the weight of being reduced to a stereotype, it's all still raw. Across the country, Jamal Carter's wide awake in his Chicago bedroom, that mysterious note sitting on his nightstand like a ticking bomb. He's torn between hope and doubt, his thumb itching to dial the number that could change everything. Both men are at a crossroads, and the world's about to throw more at them. The cops are scrambling, the note's secrets are still locked tight, and these two stories are starting to twist together in ways that'll keep you glued. Let's dig deeper, peel back the layers, and see the conflict from every angle, because this is where things get real messy. Marcus finally picks up his phone, scrolling through the notifications. There's a voicemail from Colonel James Warren, his old friend from West Point, the one he called from the police station. He hits play, and James's voice comes through, sharp and pissed. "Marcus, I'm handling this. Those idiots are done, internal affairs, DOJ, the works. You good?" Marcus exhales, but he's not good. Not even close. He's thinking about the bigger fight, the one that's been raging his whole life. He's fought wars overseas, briefed presidents, but moments like today remind him that back home, he's still gotta prove he belongs. He texts James back, "Not done yet. Need to talk." He knows James will push this hard. Hell, the man's got a direct line to the Pentagon, but Marcus isn't just looking for punishment for Reese and Hargrove. He wants change, real change, and that's a tougher battle. Down at the police station, things are falling apart. Officer Reese is in the break room, slamming his fist on a vending machine, cursing under his breath. He's trying to act tough, but he's rattled. Hargrove's sitting at a table, staring at his coffee like it's got answers. "We're screwed, Danny," Hargrove mutters, his voice low. "You saw the sergeant's face. This guy's not just some vet, he's connected." Reese spins around, eyes wild. "Connected? To who?" "We were doing our job. Stolen car report, that's it." But Hargrove shakes his head. He's been on the force longer, seen how things play out. "You didn't check the plates. You didn't listen when he said who he was. You wanted to prove a point." Reese's face twists, and for a second, it looks like he might swing. Instead, he storms out, leaving Hargrove alone with his thoughts. Hargrove's not innocent, he went along with it, didn't stop Reese, but is starting to see the cost. Their body cams are with IA now, and the footage doesn't lie. But whose side will the department take? And what happens when the public gets wind of this? The public's already stirring. One of those teens at the gas station uploaded their video to X, and it's spreading like wildfire. #Black General Cuffed is trending, with thousands of posts, some calling for justice, others spinning conspiracies, a few defending the cops. Marcus doesn't know it yet, but his face is everywhere, his story dissected by strangers. A local reporter, Sarah Delgado, catches the post and smells a scoop. She's young, hungry, and knows a story like this could put her on the map. She's digging into Marcus's background, pulling his military records, and reaching out to the police department for comment. But she's also got her own angle. She's been covering racial profiling cases in the area for years, and this feels like the tip of a bigger iceberg. She's at her desk now, typing up questions for a potential interview with Marcus, wondering if he'll talk. Will he? Or will he keep this fight behind closed doors? Let's swing back to Jamal. It's morning now, and he's at the kitchen table, picking at a bowl of cereal. His mom, Tanya, is getting ready for her shift, her eyes heavy from another late night. Jamal's been quiet, the note still on his mind. He finally pulls it out, slides it across the table. "Ma, I'm thinking about calling," he says, his voice soft, like he's testing the waters. Tanya pauses, adjusts her scrubs, and sits down. She reads the note again, her lips tight. "Jamal, I want you to have every chance in the world, you know that. But it's strange. Why's this woman picking you out of nowhere?" Jamal shrugs, but he's got an answer. "Maybe she saw something in me. I don't know, like. I did the right thing, and it meant something." Tanya's eyes soften, but she's still wary. "Call if you want, but you do it with me here. And you don't give out no personal info till we know who she is." Jamal nods, relieved she's not shutting it down. But he's nervous, too. What if this is his shot, and he fumbles it? Jamal's not the only one feeling the pressure. Across town, the woman who gave him the note, Claire Emerson, is sitting in her office, staring at her phone. Claire's in her late 30s, a lawyer who runs a small non-profit that helps kids from underserved neighborhoods get into college. She's white, grew up in the suburbs, but she's spent years working in communities like Jamal's, trying to bridge gaps. That day on the bus, she was exhausted, 7 months pregnant, and Jamal's gesture hit her hard. It wasn't just the seat, it was the way he didn't hesitate, didn't expect anything in return. She saw something in him, something she's seen in the kids she mentors, potential, raw and untapped. The note was an impulse, but not random. It's an invitation to meet her at her office, to talk about a scholarship program she runs. But Claire's got her own doubts. Did she overstep? Will he even call? And what if he's not ready for what she's offering? Back in the southern town, Marcus is on the phone with his wife, Lena. She's furious, her voice shaking as she paces their home in Virginia. Marcus, you should have called me right away. You're on the news, you know that? Aisha saw it online, she's a mess. Marcus closes his eyes, guilt hitting him like a wave. Aisha's his world, and the thought of her seeing that video, her dad cuffed and humiliated, kills him. I'll talk to her, he says, his voice steady despite the knot in his chest. But Lena, this isn't just about me. I can't let this go. Lena's quiet for a moment, then sighs. I know. But you don't have to carry it all alone. Let us help. Marcus promises to call Aisha, but as he hangs up, he feels the weight of it all, his family, his career, the eyes of the world. He's not just fighting for himself anymore. He's fighting for Aisha, for every kid like her, for every person who's been judged by their skin instead of their soul. At the police station, the fallout's getting worse. The chief, a grizzled veteran named Paul Whitaker, is in his office, fielding calls from the mayor's office and the media. He's pissed, not just at Reese and Hargrove, but at the whole situation. He's been trying to clean up the department's image after a string of lawsuits, and this? This is a nightmare. He calls Reese and Hargrove in, his face red. You two better start praying IA finds something to save your asses, because right now, you're the poster boys for everything wrong with this department. Reese tries to argue, but Whitaker cuts him off. Save it. You didn't just cuff a general, you turned him into a martyr. Get out. Hargrove's silent, his mind racing. He's got a wife, 2 kids, a mortgage. If he loses this job, he's done. Reese, though? He's not thinking about consequences. He's thinking about how to spin this, how to come out on top. And that's dangerous. Sarah, the reporter, is making moves. She's got a source in the department who leaked that the stolen car report was flimsy, barely a match for Marcus's vehicle, and no follow-up before the stop. She's also digging into Reese's history, 3 complaints for excessive force in the last 2 years, all dismissed. Hargrove's cleaner, but not spotless. Sarah's starting to see a pattern, and she's not the only one. Community activists are planning a protest outside the station, and the ex-posts are getting louder, angrier. Sarah reaches out to Marcus through a contact at the Pentagon, leaving a voicemail. General Tate, I'm with the Herald. I'd like to hear your side. This story's bigger than one stop. Marcus hasn't heard it yet, but when he does, he'll have to decide, go public and risk the spotlight, or keep it quiet and trust the system to do right. Neither option's easy. Jamal's back at the corner store, restocking shelves, but his heart's not in it. Mr. Patel notices, gives him a break to clear his head. Jamal steps outside, pulls out the note, and dials the number before he can overthink it. His hands are sweaty, his pulse racing. It rings twice, then Claire picks up. Claire Emerson, she says, her voice warm but professional. Jamal freezes for a second, then stammers, hi, this is Jamal. From the bus. You gave me a note. Claire's tone shifts, brightens. Jamal. I'm so glad you called. Can you come by my office tomorrow? I'd love to talk about an opportunity. Jamal's mind is spinning. Opportunity sounds big, but vague. He agrees, says he'll bring his mom, and hangs up. He's excited, but the doubt's still there. What if this is too good to be true? What if he's not what she's looking for? Claire's relieved, but nervous too. She's got a board meeting tomorrow, and her non-profit's funding is on shaky ground. The scholarship program's her baby, but it's competitive, and Jamal's not a typical candidate, no fancy grades, no resume full of extracurriculars. Still, she's got a gut feeling about him. She's thinking about her own kid, due in a couple months, and how she wants a world where kindness like Jamal's gets rewarded. But she's also wondering if she's putting too much on him, if she's setting him up for disappointment. She jots down notes for their meeting, trying to balance hope and realism. Tomorrow's gonna be a big day for both of them. Marcus is driving now, heading to a diner to clear his head. The radio's buzzing with news about the incident, and he switches it off. He's thinking about Aisha, about what he'll say to her. He pulls into the diner, grabs a booth, and orders coffee. A few people glance his way, words spreading fast. A waitress, a black woman in her 50s, gives him a knowing look, like she gets it. "Rough day, her," she says, pouring his coffee. Marcus nods, manages a small smile. "You could say that." She doesn't push, but her presence is a quiet comfort. Marcus sips his coffee, staring out the window, wondering how this all spiraled so fast. He's got a call with Colonel Warren tomorrow, and he knows it's gonna be heavy. Warren's talking DOJ involvement, maybe even congressional hearings. But Marcus is also thinking about the kids filming at the gas station, the ones who'll grow up seeing this. What's he teaching them by how he handles this? Back in Chicago, Jamal's telling Dre about the call. They're on the stoop outside Jamal's building, the city humming around them. Dre's hyped, slapping Jamal's shoulder. "Brew, this could be it. You bout to be out here winning." Jamal laughs, but it's half-hearted. "Man, I don't even know what it is yet. What if I mess this up?" Dre leans back, serious for once. "You won't. You're Jamal, fam. You always figure it out." Jamal wants to believe him, but he's thinking about his dad, about all the times he's been let down. He's got a meeting tomorrow, and it's not just about him, it's about his mom, his sister, everyone who's counting on him. He heads inside, the note in his pocket feeling heavier than ever. The night's closing in, and the tension's thicker than ever. Marcus is gearing up for a fight that could shake the system, but it's costing him his peace, his family, his faith in the world he's served. The cops are spiraling, Reese digging in, Hargrove cracking under the pressure. Sarah's chasing the story, but she's stirring up a hornet's nest. Jamal's on the edge of something huge, but the fear of failure's real. Claire's betting on him, but she's got her own battles. And out there, on X, in the streets, the world's watching, waiting for what's next. What's Marcus gonna do with all this power? What's in store for Jamal at that meeting? And how are these two stories, one of pain, one of promise, gonna crash together? We're deep in it now, fam. Hit that subscribe, smash that like, and let's keep rolling, this is only getting wilder. Yo, fam, we're at the edge now, teetering on the brink of something massive. General Marcus Tate's sitting in that diner, coffee gone cold, the weight of the world pressing down on him. His phone's buzzing again, Colonel Warren, his wife Lena, reporters, even a text from his daughter Aisha that just says, "Dad, you okay?" He hasn't answered yet, because every choice feels like it's gonna ripple out, changing everything. Across the country, Jamal Carter's getting ready for the biggest meeting of his life, that note from Claire Emerson burning a hole in his pocket. His mom's by his side, but his nerves are screaming, what if this is his one shot, and he blows it? The cops, Reese and Hargrove, are drowning in their own mess, with internal affairs closing in and the whole town watching. The X-posts are exploding, protests are brewing, and reporter Sarah Delgado's about to drop a bombshell. These stories, Marcus's fight for justice, Jamal's leap into the unknown, are racing toward a collision, and the tension's so thick you can feel it. Let's crank it up, push it to the max, and leave you hanging right before the storm breaks. Marcus takes a deep breath, steps out of the diner, and finally calls Colonel Warren. The line crackles, and James's voice is all business. "Marcus, it's moving fast. DOJ's sending a team, and the governor's office is sweating. Those cops. They're done, but we can push for more policy changes, training, you name it. What do you want?" Marcus pauses, the night air cool against his skin. He's thinking about Aisha, About the video of him cuffed that's probably seared into her mind. He's thinking about the black kids in this town, the ones who'll face Reese and Hargrove's kind long after he's gone. I want accountability, he says, his voice low, steady. Not just for them, for the system that let this happen. James is quiet for a second, then says, all right. But you know this'll get ugly. Media's gonna eat you alive. Marcus nods, even though James can't see him. Let him come. He hangs up, feeling the fire in his chest. He's not just a general anymore, he's a lightning rod, and the storm's about to hit. At the police station, it's chaos. Chief Whitaker's office is a war zone, phones ringing, officers scrambling, and a stack of IA reports piling up. Reese is in the locker room, shoving his gear into a duffel bag, his face red with rage. This is bullshit, he mutters, slamming his locker shut. Hargrove's leaning against the wall, looking like he hasn't slept in days. Danny, stop, he says, his voice shaky. You saw the footage. We didn't check the plates. We profiled him. Reese spins around, pointing a finger. Don't you dare pin this on me. You were right there, Tom. You didn't say shit. Hargrove flinches, because it's true. He's got kids to feed, a pension to protect, but he knows they crossed a line. The chief calls them in, his voice booming through the station. You too, my office, now. They walk in, and Whitaker's holding a fax from the DOJ. You're suspended, effective immediately. And if I were you, I'd get a lawyer. Reese's jaw drops, but Hargrove just stares at the floor, his world crumbling. Outside, a crowd's gathering, protesters with signs, news vans, and Sarah Delgado, her recorder ready. What's she got up her sleeve? And how much worse is this about to get? Sarah's been working all night, her desk littered with coffee cups and notes. She's got a source who leaked Reese's disciplinary file, 4 complaints, not 3, including one from a black teenager last year that got buried. She's also got a grainy still from the gas station video, Marcus's face clear as day, his uniform pristine even as his slammed to the ground. Her editor's pushing her to publish, but Sarah's waiting for one more piece, a statement from Marcus. She's left another voicemail, this one more urgent. General Tate, this is Sarah Delgado again. I've got evidence that could bury these officers, but I need your voice. Call me. She's pacing her apartment now, checking X, where the hashtag #JusticeForTate is trending worldwide. The comments are a war zone, some calling Marcus a hero, others saying he must have done something to deserve it. Sarah knows her story could tip the scales, but she's also scared. She's poking a bear, and the backlash could be brutal. Will Marcus call her back? And what happens when her story hits? Let's jump to Jamal. It's morning in Chicago, and he's standing outside Claire Emerson's office, a modest brick building in a quiet part of town. His mom, Tanya, is next to him, her nurse's scrubs swapped for a blouse and jeans. She's nervous too, her hand squeezing Jamal's arm. You got this, baby, she says, but her voice wavers. Jamal's heart's pounding so hard he can hear it. He's wearing his best shirt, a button-up he ironed twice, but he feels out of place. The notes in his pocket, creased from all the times he's unfolded it. He still doesn't know what to expect. Claire said opportunity, but what does that mean? A job? A scholarship? Something else? They step inside, and Claire's there, her smile warm but professional. She's got a file on her desk with Jamal's name on it, which throws him. How does she know his name? He only gave it when he called. Jamal, Tanya, thanks for coming, Claire says, gesturing to some chairs. Let's talk about what's possible. Jamal's stomach flips. This is it, the moment everything could change. But what's in that file? And why does Claire seem so sure about him? Claire starts talking, and Jamal's trying to keep up. She runs a non-profit that helps kids like him, first generation, low income, get into college with full-ride scholarships. She saw Jamal on the bus, saw his kindness, and did some digging. Turns out, she's got a contact at Jamal's community college who mentioned he's been pulling straight A's despite working 20 hours a week. You're exactly the kind of person we're looking for, Claire says, sliding the file across the desk. It's an application for a scholarship program, but not just any program, it's tied to a network of mentors, internships, even a shot at Ivy League schools. Jamal's eyes widen, but Tanya's skeptical. This sounds amazing, but what's the catch? She asks, her voice sharp. Claire nods, respecting the question. No catch, but it's competitive. Jamal would need to commit essays, interviews, the works. And it starts now. Jamal's head is spinning. This is everything he's dreamed of, but it's also terrifying. What if he's not good enough? What if he lets everyone down? Back in the southern town, Marcus is at his hotel, finally talking to Aisha. She's crying, her voice breaking over the phone. Dad, why'd they do that to you? You're a general. Marcus's heart aches, but he keeps his tone steady. Baby, some people see what they wanna see. But we don't let 'em define us. I'm handling this, okay? Aisha's quiet, then says, I'm proud of you, but I'm scared. Marcus swallows hard. He's scared too, not for himself, but for her, for the world she's inheriting. He promises to come home soon, but as he hangs up, he sees Sarah's voicemail. He listens, his jaw tightening. Evidence to bury the officers? That's tempting, but going public means no turning back. His phone pings again, a text from Colonel Warren, DOJ's here. Meet me at 0900. Marcus knows tomorrow's gonna be a reckoning, but for who? The cops? The department? Or him, if he steps into this fire? The protest outside the station is growing, dozens of people chanting, holding signs that say no justice, no peace, and end profiling now. Sarah's there, weaving through the crowd, her recorder catching every word. She spots a kid from the gas station, one of the teens who filmed Marcus's arrest. His name's Tyrell, and he's 16, angry, his hands shaking as he talks. They didn't even ask him nothing, Tyrell tells her. Just threw him down like he was nobody. Sarah's heart sinks, she's seen too many stories like this, but this one's different. Marcus isn't just anybody, and that's why it's hitting so hard. She scribbles Tyrell's number, promising to follow up. But as she turns, she sees Reese in the station doorway, watching the crowd, his face unreadable. Is he regretting it? Or planning something worse? Sarah's gut tells her this story's about to explode, and she's right in the middle. Jamal's back home, the scholarship applications spread out on the kitchen table. Tanya's reading every page, her glasses perched on her nose. Jamal's pacing, his mind racing. Ma, this is crazy. Ivy League. Me. Tanya looks up, her eyes soft but firm. Why not you, Jamal? You're smart, you work hard. But this ain't gonna be easy. You ready for that? Jamal nods, but he's not sure. The application's daunting essays about his life, his goals, his struggles. He's never written anything like that, never had to bare his soul on paper. And the deadline's tight, 2 weeks. He thinks about Claire, about the way she looked at him, like she believed he could do this. But he also thinks about his dad, who promised big things and never delivered. What if this is another letdown? He sits down, grabs a pen, and starts writing, his hand shaking. This is his chance, but it's also the scariest thing he's ever done. Marcus is up early, getting ready for his meeting with Colonel Warren. He's in his uniform, medals polished, every detail perfect. But inside, he's a mess. He's thinking about the DOJ, about what they'll ask, what they'll expect. He's thinking about Sarah's voicemail, about whether to call her back. He's thinking about the protesters, the kids like Tyrell, the ones counting on him to make this right. His phone buzzes, a news alert. Sarah's story just dropped, a front-page exposé on Reese's complaints and the department's history of profiling. It doesn't name Marcus directly, but it's close enough. The X hashtags are going wild, and the governor's office just issued a statement promising a full review. Marcus knows this is his moment. He grabs his keys, heads out, and feels the eyes of the town on him. The meeting's in an hour, and it's gonna change everything. But what's he walking into? And what's he willing to risk? At the station, Reese is losing it. He's read Sarah's story, seen his name dragged through the mud. He's in the chief's office, yelling, "This is a witch hunt. That reporter's lying. Whitaker's done with him. You're lucky you're only suspended, Reese. Shut up and get out." Hargrove's outside, sitting in his car, staring at his phone. His wife's texting, asking if they're gonna lose everything. He doesn't know how to answer. He's thinking about Marcus, about the man he helped cuff, about the life he's lived as a cop. Was it all a lie? He sees the protesters, hears their chants, and for the first time, he wonders if he's on the wrong side. Reese, though, isn't wondering. He's plotting, his mind racing with ways to fight back. What's he gonna do? And how far is he willing to go? Jamal's at the library, working on his essay, his laptop screen glowing in the dim light. He's written a paragraph about giving up his seat, about how it wasn't a big deal but felt right. But the next question's harder. What's your biggest challenge? He stares at the screen, thinking about his dad, about the nights his mom cried over bills, about the times he felt invisible. He starts typing, the words pouring out, raw and real. He doesn't notice Claire walk in, she's there to check on another kid but spots him. She watches for a moment, sees the focus in his eyes, and smiles. She knows he's got a shot, but she also knows the road's tough. She slips out, not wanting to interrupt, but her phone buzzes, a donor pulling funding from her program. If Jamal gets in, will there even be a scholarship to give? She pushes the thought down, but it's there, gnawing at her. The clock's ticking, and every second's heavier than the last. Marcus is steps away from the DOJ meeting, his heart pounding, knowing this could redefine his legacy. Sarah's story is blowing up, and she's getting threats now, her inbox flooded with hate. Reese is spiraling, Hargrove's breaking, and the town's a powder keg. Jamal's pouring his soul into that essay, but the stakes are higher than he knows. Claire's fighting to keep her program alive, and Tanya's praying her son doesn't get hurt. The ex-posts are a roar, the protests are swelling, and the world's holding its breath. What's Marcus gonna say in that meeting? What's Reese planning in his rage? Will Jamal's essay be enough? And how are these two stories, one of fury, one of hope, about to slam together? We're right at the peak. Fam, hit that like, smash that subscribe, and hold tight, because the next part's gonna shake you to your core. Yo, fam, we're teetering on the edge of chaos now, and things are about to take a wild turn. General Marcus Tate's striding toward the DOJ meeting, his uniform crisp, his heart hammering, knowing every word he says could shift the course of this fight. The town's buzzing, protesters chanting outside the station, ex-posts lighting up with #Justice for Tate, and Sarah Delgado's exposé has the whole department on its knees. Officer Reese is a ticking bomb, plotting something reckless, while Hargrove's crumbling under the guilt. Across the country, Jamal Carter's hunched over his laptop in the library, pouring his soul into that scholarship essay, unaware of the storm brewing around Claire's nonprofit. The stakes are sky high, but just when you thought you had a grip on this, the ground's about to shift again. A second twist is coming, and it's gonna hit like a freight train, escalating the conflict and leaving you gasping. Let's dive in and see how this fire gets hotter. Marcus steps into the meeting room, a stark government office with fluorescent lights and a long table. Colonel Warren's there, his face grim, alongside two DOJ officials in suits, their notepads ready. Marcus sits, his posture perfect, but his mind's racing. He's ready to lay it all out, the profiling, the brutality, the system that let Reese and Hargrove think they could get away with it. The lead official, a woman named Karen Brooks, starts with questions about the incident, her tone neutral but sharp. Marcus answers, calm and precise, detailing every second of that gas station takedown. But then Brooks slides a folder across the table, her eyes locking with his. General Tate, we've got something else. A report from 2 years ago, same department, same officer, Daniel Reese. Another black man, a veteran, cuffed on a suspicious vehicle call. Case was dropped, no charges. Marcus's jaw tightens. He leans forward, scanning the file. The man's name is Calvin Brooks, no relation to Karen, but the parallels are eerie. Same town, same cop, same excuse. Why wasn't this followed up? Marcus asks, his voice low, dangerous. Brooks sighs. Buried. We're digging now, but this changes things. If Reese has a pattern, this isn't just one bad stop, it's systemic. Marcus feels a chill. This isn't just his fight anymore, it's a war against a machine that's been grinding people down for years. But what does he do with this? And how much deeper does this go? Back at the station, Reese is in his car, parked in an alley, his phone pressed to his ear. He's talking to a buddy from the force, someone who's always had his back. "I'm not going down for this," Reese snaps, his voice shaking with rage. "That reporter's lying, and Tate's playing the victim. I need you to dig up something on him, anything." His buddy hesitates, then agrees, but Reese isn't done. He's got a plan, something desperate, something that could blow this whole thing wide open. He's heard whispers about a local activist group planning to confront the department, and he's thinking about leaking a tip, something to paint Marcus as the aggressor, to flip the narrative. It's a long shot, but Reese is cornered, and cornered animals fight dirty. He hangs up, his hands gripping the wheel, his mind racing. What's he about to unleash? And how's it gonna backfire? Hargrove's at home now, sitting in his living room, the TV muted but showing news footage of the protests. His wife, Emily, is in the kitchen, pretending everything's normal, but the tension's thick. Their kids are upstairs, oblivious, but Hargrove can't shake the image of Marcus on the ground, his own silence ringing in his ears. He pulls out his phone, scrolls to Sarah Delgado's number. He's been thinking about her story, about the complaints against Reese she dug up. He knows more stuff he's heard in the locker room, cases that never made it to paper. He types out a text, "I need to talk." Off the record. His thumb hovers over send, his heart pounding. If he does this, there's no going back, he's betraying Reese, the department, everything he's known. But if he doesn't, he's betraying himself. He hits send, and the second it goes through, he feels like he's stepped off a cliff. What's he about to tell Sarah? And how's it gonna change the game? Sarah's at a coffee shop, her laptop open, her phone buzzing with notifications. She's getting death threats now, her ex mentions a mix of support and venom. Her stories hit a nerve, and the governor's review is starting to feel like a dodge. She's waiting for a call from Tyrell, the kid who filmed Marcus's arrest, hoping he's got more footage. But when Hargrove's text comes through, her breath catches. A cop reaching out. This could be huge or a trap. She replies, setting a meet at a park an hour away, somewhere public but quiet. She's nervous, checking her surroundings, wondering if she's in over her head. The protests are getting louder, and she's heard rumors of a bigger demonstration planned for tomorrow, one that could turn ugly. She's thinking about Marcus, about Calvin Brooks, about all the names she doesn't know yet. Her story's not just a scoop anymore, it's a spark, and the town's a tinderbox. What's Hargrove gonna say? And what happens if Reese gets wind of it? Yo, fam, we're teetering on the edge of chaos now, and things are about to take a wild turn. General Marcus Tate's striding toward the DOJ meeting, his uniform crisp, his heart hammering, knowing every word he says could shift the course of this fight. The town's buzzing, protesters chanting outside the station, ex-posts lighting up with #Justice for Tate, and Sarah Delgado's expose has the whole department on its knees. Officer Reese is a ticking bomb, plotting something reckless, while Hargrove's crumbling under the guilt. Across the country, Jamal Carter's hunched over his laptop in the library, pouring his soul into that scholarship essay, unaware of the storm brewing around Claire's nonprofit. The stakes are sky high, but just when you thought you had a grip on this, the ground's about to shift again. A second twist is coming, and it's gonna hit like a freight train, escalating the conflict and leaving you gasping. Let's dive in and see how this fire gets hotter. Marcus steps into the meeting room, a stark government office with fluorescent lights and a long table. Colonel Warren's there, his face grim, alongside two DOJ officials in suits, their notepads ready. Marcus sits, his posture perfect, but his mind's racing. He's ready to lay it all out, the profiling, the brutality, the system that let Reese and Hargrove think they could get away with it. The lead official, a woman named Karen Brooks, starts with questions about the incident, her tone neutral but sharp. Marcus answers, calm and precise, detailing every second of that gas station takedown. But then Brooks slides a folder across the table, her eyes locking with his. "General Tate, we've got something else. A report from 2 years ago, same department, same officer, Daniel Reese. Another black man, a veteran, cuffed on a suspicious vehicle call. Case was dropped, no charges." Marcus's jaw tightens. He leans forward, scanning the file. The man's name is Calvin Brooks, no relation to Karen, but the parallels are eerie. Same town, same cop, same excuse. Why wasn't this followed up? Marcus asks, his voice low, dangerous. Brooks sighs. Buried. We're digging now, but this changes things. If Reese has a pattern, this isn't just one bad stop, it's systemic. Marcus feels a chill. This isn't just his fight anymore, it's a war against a machine that's been grinding people down for years. But what does he do with this? And how much deeper does this go? Back at the station, Reese is in his car, parked in an alley, his phone pressed to his ear. He's talking to a buddy from the force, someone who's always had his back. I'm not going down for this, Reese snaps, his voice shaking with rage. That reporter's lying, and Tate's playing the victim. I need you to dig up something on him, anything. His buddy hesitates, then agrees, but Reese isn't done. He's got a plan, something desperate, something that could blow this whole thing wide open. He's heard whispers about a local activist group planning to confront the department, and he's thinking about leaking a tip, something to paint Marcus as the aggressor, to flip the narrative. It's a long shot, but Reese is cornered, and cornered animals fight dirty. He hangs up, his hands gripping the wheel, his mind racing. What's he about to unleash? And how's it gonna backfire? Hargrove's at home now, sitting in his living room, the TV muted but showing news footage of the protests. His wife, Emily, is in the kitchen, pretending everything's normal, but the tension's thick. Their kids are upstairs, oblivious, but Hargrove can't shake the image of Marcus on the ground, his own silence ringing in his ears. He pulls out his phone, scrolls to Sarah Delgado's number. He's been thinking about her story, about the complaints against Reese she dug up. He knows more stuff he's heard in the locker room, cases that never made it to paper. He types out a text, I need to talk. Off the record. His thumb hovers over send, his heart pounding. If he does this, there's no going back, he's betraying Reese, the department, everything he's known. But if he doesn't, he's betraying himself. He hits send, and the second it goes through, he feels like he's stepped off a cliff. What's he about to tell Sarah? And how's it gonna change the game? Sarah's at a coffee shop, her laptop open, her phone buzzing with notifications. She's getting death threats now, her ex mentions a mix of support and venom. Her stories hit a nerve, and the governor's review is starting to feel like a dodge. She's waiting for a call from Tyrell, the kid who filmed Marcus's arrest, hoping he's got more footage. But when Hargrove's text comes through, her breath catches. A cop reaching out. This could be huge or a trap. She replies, setting a meter to park an hour away, somewhere public but quiet. She's nervous, checking her surroundings, wondering if she's in over her head. The protests are getting louder, and she's heard rumors of a bigger demonstration planned for tomorrow, one that could turn ugly. She's thinking about Marcus, about Calvin Brooks, about all the names she doesn't know yet. Her story's not just a scoop anymore, it's a spark, and the town's a tinderbox. What's Hargrove gonna say? And what happens if Reese gets wind of it? Let's swing to Jamal. He's still at the library, his essay half done, words spilling out about his mom's sacrifices, his sister's dreams, his own quiet hope. He's lost in it, barely noticing the time, when his phone buzzes. It's Claire, and her voice is tight. Jamal, we need to talk. Can you come by the office tomorrow? He's confused, she sounds off, not like the confident woman from yesterday. Everything okay? He asks, his stomach twisting. Claire hesitates, then says, there's a problem with the funding. I'm fighting for it, but, just come tomorrow, okay? She hangs up, and Jamal's world tilts. Funding? What does that mean? No scholarship? No shot at college? He stares at his essay, the words blurring. He's been pouring everything into this, believing it could be his way out, and now it might be slipping away. He texts his mom, his hands shaking, Ma, something's wrong with the scholarship. IDK what to do. Tanya's at work, but she texts back fast, we'll figure it out, baby. Come home. Jamal packs up, his chest tight. He's not giving up, but this twist hurts. What's Claire hiding? And how's he gonna keep pushing forward? Claire's in her office, her desk a mess of budgets and emails. The donor who pulled funding is a big one, spooked by a board member who thinks the program's too risky in a tough economy. Claire's been on the phone all day, begging, negotiating, but it's not looking good. She's thinking about Jamal, about the fire in his eyes when he talked about his future. She's thinking about her own kid, about the world she wants them to grow up in. She pulls up the scholarship application, sees Jamal's name, and makes a decision. She's got one last card to play, a personal connection to a wealthy philanthropist who owes her a favor. She dials, her voice steady despite the panic. "Mark, it's Claire. I need your help, or this program's dead." The call's a long shot, but it's all she's got. If it fails, Jamal's dream could collapse. If it works, it could change everything. What's Mark gonna say? And how much is Claire willing to risk? Back in the southern town, Marcus is driving to the DOJ meeting's follow-up, his mind spinning with Calvin Brooks's case. He's thinking about the pattern, about how many others are out there, buried in files or silenced by fear. He's thinking about Aisha, who texted him a link to Sarah's story with a single emoji, flexed biceps. He smiles, but it's fleeting. His phone rings, it's Lena, and she's frantic. "Marcus, there's a post on X saying you provoked the cops, that you were aggressive. It's got thousands of retweets." Marcus's blood runs cold. Provoked? Aggressive? He knows where this is coming from, Reese, or someone like him, trying to spin the narrative. He pulls over, checks X, and sees the post, a blurry still from a different angle, making it look like he's lunging at Reese. It's manipulated, he's sure, but it's spreading fast. He texts Warren, "We've got a problem. Someone's playing dirty." Warren replies instantly, "On it. Stay sharp." Marcus grips the wheel, his knuckles white. This isn't just a fight for justice anymore, it's a battle for his name, his truth. Who's behind this post? And how's it gonna hit him? The protests are swelling, spilling onto the main street. Tyrell's there, holding a sign, his friends beside him. He's been talking to Sarah, sharing more clips from that day, but he's also scared. He's seen what happens to kids who speak out, cops hassling them, rumors spreading. But he's thinking about Marcus, about how he stayed calm even with a knee in his back. Tyrell wants to be that strong, but he's 16, and this is heavy. He spots a news van, sees Sarah interviewing someone, and wonders if his footage will make a difference. But then he notices a group of counter-protesters, their faces hard, their signs ugly. One of them locks eyes with him, and Tyrell feels a chill. Are they just here to argue, or is something worse coming? He texts Sarah, "Yo, things feel off. Watch out." She doesn't see it yet, she's too focused on her interview, but the crowd's getting louder, angrier. What's about to pop off? Jamal's walking home, the Chicago night wrapping around him. He's thinking about Claire's call, about the scholarship hanging by a thread. He's thinking about his essay, about the words he wrote about wanting to be someone his sister can look up to. He passes the basketball court, empty now, and remembers Dre's words, "You always figure it out." But this feels bigger than anything he's faced. His phone buzzes, a text from Claire, "Don't lose hope. I'm working on it. See you tomorrow." It's vague, but it's enough to keep him going. He stops, pulls out the note from the bus, reads it again. "Your kindness could open doors you didn't know existed." He wants to believe it, but the doubt's loud. He's got a meeting tomorrow, and it's do or die. What's Claire fighting for? And what happens if she loses? Marcus is back at his hotel, the ex-post still burning in his mind. He's on the phone with Warren, who's furious. "We're tracing the account, but it's a burner. Reese's fingerprints are all over this, but we need proof." Marcus nods, his mind racing. He's thinking about Calvin Brooks, about Tyrell, about the kids who'll inherit this mess. He's thinking about Sarah, about whether to trust her with his story. His phone pings a voicemail from Sarah, her voice urgent, "General Tate, I've got a source inside the department. They're talking. Call me before this breaks." Marcus hesitates. If he talks, he's all in, no hiding. But if he doesn't, Reese's lies could win. He dials Sarah's number, his finger hovering over the call button. The room's quiet, but his pulse is deafening. What's he gonna do? And what's waiting on the other side of that call? The night's alive with tension, every thread pulling tighter. Marcus is one choice away from a war he can't unstart. Reese's desperation is about to unleash something ugly, and Hargrove's confession could blow the lid off everything. Sarah's walking a tightrope, her story a spark in a powder keg. The protests are a heartbeat from boiling over, and Tyrell's caught in the crossfire. Jamal's fighting for a future that might not exist, and Claire's gambling everything to keep it alive. The ex-posts are a roar, the town's a battlefield, and Chicago's holding its breath. What's Marcus gonna tell Sarah? What's Reese's next move? Will Jamal's meeting save his dream or break it? And how's this new twist, Calvin Brooks's case, Reese's lies, gonna collide with everything else? We're inches from the climax. Fam, smash that like, hit subscribe, and brace yourself, because this is about to go off. Yo, fam, we've reached the peak, and it's about to go down. General Marcus Tate's in his hotel room, finger hovering over the call button to Sarah Delgado, his heart pounding as he weighs whether to go public with his story. The ex-post smearing him as aggressive is spreading like wildfire, and Reese's dirty tricks are closing in. The DOJ meeting's looming, Calvin Brooks's buried case has blown the lid off a systemic mess, and the town's protests are a powder keg ready to explode. Across the country, Jamal Carter's walking into Claire Emerson's office, his scholarship dreams hanging by a thread, his mom Tanya by his side, both of them bracing for the truth. Reese is plotting, Hargrove's on the verge of spilling everything, and Sarah's meeting with a cop could change the game. Every thread's pulled tight, and the climax is here, intense, raw, and packed with resolutions that'll hit hard. But hold up, because a final twist is coming, and it's gonna leave your jaw on the floor. Let's dive in and wrap this up. Marcus takes a deep breath and hits the call button. Sarah picks up on the first ring, her voice tense but eager. General Tate, thank you for calling. I've got a source, someone inside the department, who says Reese has been targeting black drivers for years. I need your story to make this stick. Marcus's jaw tightens. He thinks about Aisha, about Calvin Brooks, about the kids like Tyrell watching this unfold. All right, he says, his voice steady. I'll talk. But this isn't just about me, it's about everyone they've hurt. Sarah's practically vibrating with adrenaline, promising to protect his perspective and get the story out by morning. Marcus hangs up, feeling the weight of his choice. His all in now, no turning back. He texts Colonel Warren, I'm going public. Get ready. Warren replies instantly, got your back. DOJ's moving fast. Marcus steps onto the balcony, the night air heavy, knowing tomorrow's gonna shake the world. At the same time, Sarah's racing to the park to meet Hargrove. It's late, the streetlights casting long shadows, and she's checking her surroundings, her recorder hidden in her pocket. Hargrove's waiting on a bench, his face pale, his hands fidgeting. I can't do this anymore, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. Reese, he's been at this for years. Fake calls, planted evidence, targeting black folks. I looked the other way, but I'm done. Sarah's heart races, this is bigger than she imagined. Hargrove hands her a USB drive with internal reports, radio logs, even a memo from Chief Whitaker dismissing a complaint against Reese. You didn't get this from me, he says, standing to leave. Sarah nods, but as she turns, she sees a figure in the distance, Reese, watching from his car. Her stomach drops. Did he follow Hargrove? Is he onto her? She slips the USB into her bag and hurries away, her mind racing. She's got the story of her career, but at what cost? In Chicago, Jamal and Tanya are sitting across from Claire in her cramped office. The air's thick with tension, and Jamal's gripping his mom's hand under the table. Claire's face is strained, but she forces a smile. Jamal, I've got good news and bad news, she says, sliding a folder toward him. The bad news, our main donor pulled out. The scholarship fund's in trouble. Jamal's heart sinks, his dreams crumbling. Tanya's eyes narrow, ready to fight, but Claire holds up a hand. The good news, I called in a favor. A philanthropist, Mark Reynolds, is funding your application personally. If you get in, you're covered, full ride, mentorship, everything. Jamal's jaw drops, tears pricking his eyes. Tanya gasps, pulling him into a hug. But, Claire adds, the program's tougher now. You've got 1 week to finish the essays, and the interviews with Reynolds himself. Intense. Jamal nods, his fear mixing with hope. He's got a shot, but it's the hardest one he'll ever take. He thanks Claire, his voice shaky, and walks out with Tanya, the folder clutched tight. He's ready to fight, but the pressure's crushing. Back in the southern town, the protests hit a fever pitch. Hundreds are outside the station, chanting justice for Tate. Tyrell's in the crowd, his sign high, but he's nervous. The counter-protesters are louder now, their words venomous. Sarah's story hits the Herald's website at midnight, and it's a bomb, pattern of abuse, officers' history of racial profiling exposed. It names Reese, cites Hargrove's evidence, and quotes Marcus's account of the gas station stop. X explodes, the hashtag #FireReese trending alongside #JusticeForTate. The governor calls an emergency press conference, promising swift action. But Reese isn't going down quietly. He's at a dive bar, meeting a shady contact who's got dirt on the activist group leading the protests. "Plant this," Reese says, sliding an envelope across the table. It's fake texts, doctored to make it look like the activists planned violence. "Get it to the news before the protest tomorrow." His contact nods, but Reese doesn't see the guy's phone recording the whole exchange. Reese's desperation is about to backfire, big time. Marcus wakes to his phone blowing up. Sarah's story is everywhere, and Aisha's calling, her voice proud but scared. "Dad, you're a hero, but they're saying awful stuff about you online." Marcus checks X and sees the fake post about him being aggressive has doubled in retweets, fueled by bots and Reese's allies. But Sarah's story is louder, and the truth is cutting through. He meets Warren and the DOJ team at a secure office, where Karen Brooks lays out the plan. Reese and Hargrove are facing federal charges, and the department's under investigation for systemic bias. Calvin Brooks's case is being reopened, and Marcus's testimony will be key. "You're changing things, General," Brooks says, but Marcus feels the cost: his family's privacy, his daughter's fear, his own exhaustion. He nods, ready to testify, but as he leaves, Warren pulls him aside. "There's chatter about a setup at the protest today. Reese is involved. Stay away." Marcus's blood runs cold. He wants to be there, to stand with Tyrell and the others, but he knows he's a target now. What's he gonna do? The protest is massive, spilling across the town square. Tyrell's near the front, his friends hyping him up, but he sees the counter-protesters closing in, their faces twisted with anger. Sarah's there too, live tweeting, her eyes scanning for trouble. Then it happens: a fight breaks out, fists flying, and the crowd surges. Tyrell's pushed back, his sign ripped away, but he stands his ground, shouting for calm. Sarah catches it on video, her hands shaking. Police in riot gear move in, and for a moment, it looks like the whole thing's gonna spiral into chaos. But then Chief Whitaker steps up, megaphone in hand. "Enough," he roars. "We hear you. Officer Reese is fired, effective now. We're cooperating with the DOJ." The crowd pauses, stunned, then erupts in cheers. Tyrell's eyes fill with tears. He's never seen anything like this. Sarah's tweeting furiously, her story updating in real time. But she doesn't see Reese in the crowd, his face dark, slipping away. He's just gotten a text from his contact, "Deal's off. I'm turning you in." Reese freezes, realizing he's been played. His own scheme's about to bury him. Jamal's at home, working on his essay, the deadline looming. Tanya's coaching him, her voice steady, but he's struggling. The interview with Reynolds is tomorrow, and he's terrified. He's never met someone with that kind of power. His phone buzzes, a call from Claire. "Jamal, you're not gonna believe this," she says, her voice bright. "Mark's not just funding you, he's expanding the program because of your story. Your essays already impressed him." Jamal's speechless, his heart soaring. He hugs Tanya, who's crying now, and finishes the essay that night, every word true. The next day, he walks into the interview, his head high, and nails it. Reynolds shakes his hand, saying, "You're going places, kid." Jamal's in, the scholarship's his, and his future's wide open. He texts Dre, "I did it, brew. We up." But as he leaves, Claire pulls him aside, her face serious. "There's one more thing," she says, handing him an envelope. "Open it later." Jamal nods, confused, but tucks it away. "What's in it?" And why's Claire acting so cryptic? Marcus takes the stand at the DOJ hearing, his voice clear, his story unshakable. He talks about the gas station, about Calvin Brooks, about the system that's failed too many. Reese and Hargrove are charged, Reese with civil rights violations, Hargrove with lesser counts for cooperating. The department's overhaul begins, with new training and oversight. Calvin Brooks's case is reopened, and Marcus's testimony will be key. Sarah's story wins awards, and she's offered a national gig, but she stays local, committed to the fight. Tyrell's footage goes viral, inspiring kids across the country, and he starts a youth group to keep the momentum going. Marcus goes home to Lena and Aisha, his heart heavy but hopeful. The fake X post is debunked, Reese's contact turning over the recording, sealing his fate. Reese is arrested, his career and freedom gone. Hargrove takes a plea, retires quietly, haunted by his silence. The town's still healing, but change is real. Marcus sees it in the kids' eyes, in Tyrell's courage, in the new policies taking root. But here's the final twist, fam, and it's a gut punch. Jamal opens Claire's envelope that night, expecting a congratulatory note. Instead, it's a letter from Claire, revealing she's Calvin Brooks's sister. She was on that bus because she was visiting Chicago, still grieving her brother's profiling case, still searching for hope. When she saw Jamal's kindness, it reminded her of Calvin, of the good the world can still hold. She tracked him down, used her nonprofit to give him a chance, but never told him the full story until now. "You're proof people can rise," she writes. Calvin would have been proud. Jamal's floored, tears streaming as he reads it again. He looks at Tanya, who's reading over his shoulder, her hand on his. "Ma, this is bigger than me," he says. She nods, pulling him close. And in that moment, thousands of miles apart, Marcus and Jamal are connected, two men, one fight, one truth. Justice and kindness can change the world, but the scars run deep. The dust settles, but the story's not over. Marcus is back in Virginia, mentoring kids like Tyrell, his legacy growing. Jamal's at college, acing his classes, his sister cheering him on. Claire's program thrives, funded by Reynolds and inspired by Jamal. Sarah's still writing, Tyrell's still leading, and the town's still learning. But that twist, Claire's connection to Calvin, ties it all together, a reminder that every act, every choice, ripples further than we know. What's next for Marcus, Jamal, and this fight? That's another story. Fam, smash that like, hit subscribe, and let's keep talking, because this is real, and we're just getting started. Yo, fam, we're coming down from the wildest ride, but the story's not done yet. General Marcus Tate's back home in Virginia, his DOJ testimony shaking up the system, Reese locked up, and the town starting to heal. Jamal Carter's in Chicago, clutching that scholarship, his future bright but forever changed by Claire's bombshell. She's Calvin Brooks's sister, tying his act of kindness to Marcus's fight for justice. Sarah Delgado's story is still rippling, Tyrell's leading a youth movement, and Hargrove's living with his regrets. The climax hit hard, connecting Marcus and Jamal through a shared truth. Justice and kindness can shift the world, but the scars linger. Now, let's wrap this up, tie up the loose ends, and leave you with something to carry forward. It's time to bring it home, with hope, reflection, and a few final surprises to make this ending stick. Marcus is in his backyard, the Virginia sun warm on his face, grilling burgers for Aisha and Lena. It's been a month since the hearing, and the quiet feels strange after the storm. Aisha's laughing, tossing a frisbee with their dog, but Marcus knows she's still processing. The video of him cuffed is still out there, popping up in her X feed, but she's stronger for it, asking questions about justice, about what her dad's fighting for. Lena slides up beside him, her hand on his arm. "You did good, Marcus," she says, her voice soft. "But you're home now. Let yourself rest." He nods, but rest isn't easy. The DOJ investigation's expanding, with 3 more officers in the department under review, and Calvin Brooks's case has led to a settlement for his family. Marcus feels the weight of it all, but also the lift. Change is happening, slow but real. He flips a burger, smiles at Aisha, and thinks about Tyrell, who texted him yesterday about a community meeting. The kid's a leader now, and Marcus is proud, like his passing the torch. Sarah's still in the southern town, Her desk at the Herald cluttered with awards from her exposé. She turned down the national gig, choosing to stay where the fights roar. She's working on a follow-up about the department's new training program, mandated after the DOJ's findings. Tyrell's her go-to source, his youth group pushing for more reforms. She meets him at a diner, his energy infectious as he talks about their next rally. "Miss Delgado, we're not stopping," he says, his eyes bright. "What you wrote, what General Tate did, that's just the start." Sarah smiles, but she's tired. The threats haven't stopped, and her inbox is a battleground. Still, she's found her purpose. She's also been talking to Calvin Brooks's mom, a quiet woman who thanked her for giving her son's story a voice. Sarah's writing a book now, part memoir, part investigation, to keep the conversation going. She knows it's risky, but she's all in, just like Marcus. Back in Chicago, Jamal's packing for college, his room a mess of boxes and memories. The scholarship's real, full ride, mentorship, even a stipend for books. He's headed to a state university, not Ivy League, but it's more than he ever dreamed. Tanya's in the kitchen, cooking his favorite meal, her pride filling the house. Jamal's little sister, Kayla, is bouncing around, asking if she can visit his dorm. "You better," Jamal laughs, ruffling her hair. But he's still reeling from Claire's letter. Calvin Brooks's story hit him hard, and he's been reading about Marcus online, piecing together the connection. He pulls out the note from the bus, the one that started it all, and tucks it into his wallet. It's a reminder, one small act can ripple forever. He's been emailing Claire, thanking her, asking about Calvin. She's open now, sharing stories of her brother, how he loved jazz and wanted to be a teacher. Jamal feels a responsibility, like he's carrying Calvin's hope forward. Claire's at her non-profit, the office buzzing with new energy. Mark Reynolds didn't just save the scholarship, he doubled the funding, inspired by Jamal's story. The program's growing, with 10 more kids like Jamal set to apply next year. Claire's exhausted, her newborn keeping her up at night, but she's alive with purpose. She's been talking to Calvin's mom too, and they're planning a memorial scholarship in his name. Claire's also reached out to Marcus, a tentative email thanking him for reopening her brother's case. Marcus replied, short but kind, promising to meet someday. Claire's thinking about that meeting, about what it could mean to bridge their stories. She's also reflecting on her own privilege, how being white gave her access to people like Reynolds. She's learning, growing, and pouring it all into her work. Her kid's gonna grow up in a world she's helping shape, and that's enough. Tyrell's youth group is making waves, with a petition for body cams and civilian oversight gaining thousands of signatures. He's still in school, balancing homework with activism, but he's found his voice. Marcus sent him a letter, handwritten, saying, "You're the future, Tyrell. Keep pushing." Tyrell keeps it in his backpack, reading it when doubt creeps in. He's been talking to Sarah about college, maybe journalism, to tell stories like hers. But he's also dealing with fallout. Some kids at school call him a snitch for sharing the gas station video. He shrugs it off, but it stings. His mom's proud, though, and that keeps him going. He's planning a vigil for Calvin Brooks, a way to honor the past while fighting for the future. He texts Sarah about it, and she's already on board, promising to cover it. Tyrell's learning that change is messy, but it's worth it. Hargrove's in a small apartment now, his marriage strained, his pension gone. He took the plea, avoided jail, but the guilt's a heavier sentence. He's been writing letters to Marcus, apologies he never sends. He's also been reading Sarah's stories, seeing the department change without him. He's thinking about his kids, how they'll see him when they're older. He starts volunteering at a community center, coaching basketball, trying to make amends. It's small, but it's a start. He runs into Tyrell one day, and the kid just nods, no words needed. Hargrove knows he's got a long road, but that nod, it's a sliver of grace. Reese is in jail, his trial a media circus. The recording from his contact sealed his fate, exposing his attempt to smear the activists. He's facing years behind bars, his name synonymous with corruption. The town's moved on, but his shadow lingers in the department's reforms. Some officers still defend him, whispering in private, but they're drowned out by the new voices, Tyrell's, Sarah's, Marcus's. Reese's story is a warning, a reminder of what happens when power turns toxic. Marcus and Jamal finally connect, a Zoom call set up by Claire. It's awkward at first, two strangers tied by pain and hope. Marcus sees himself in Jamal, the kid he might have been without the army. Jamal sees Marcus as a hero, but also a man, tired but unbroken. They talk about Calvin, about justice, about what it means to keep going. "You're doing it right, kid," Marcus says, his voice warm. "That seat you gave up. It's bigger than you know." Jamal smiles, shy but proud. "And you, sir? You're making it so kids like me don't gotta fight as hard." They promise to stay in touch, and when the call ends, both feel lighter, like they've found a piece of something bigger. The town holds Calvin's vigil, led by Tyrell and Sarah. Hundreds show up, candles flickering, jazz playing soft in the background. Marcus is there, standing with Lena and Aisha, his presence quiet but powerful. Claire flies in, her baby in a stroller, and meets Marcus for the first time. They don't say much, just a nod, a shared look, but it's enough. Jamal's there too, with Tanya and Kayla, his first time in the South. He lays a flower at the memorial, thinking about Calvin, about Claire's letter. The crowd sings, their voices rising, and for a moment, the scars feel lighter. Sarah's filming, her story live on X, the hashtag #RememberCalvin trending. It's not perfect, but it's progress, and that's the takeaway. Change starts with courage, with kindness, with truth. Months later, Marcus is speaking at a youth conference, Tyrell in the front row. Jamal's acing his first semester, texting Claire about his classes. Sarah's book is out, a bestseller, and she's mentoring young reporters. Claire's program is a beacon, and Calvin's scholarship is funding its first student. The town's still learning, but the protests, the stories, the fights, they've left a mark. Marcus looks at Aisha, who's writing an essay about her dad, and knows it's worth it. Jamal looks at Kayla, who's dreaming bigger now, and feels the same. The world's not fixed, but it's moving, and that's the legacy. So, fam, what's your takeaway? How you gonna ripple out? Smash that like, hit subscribe, and let's keep this vibe alive, because stories like this, they're ours to tell.